Welcome to Senior's Last Word this week. Roman Abramovich and the Roman Empire have crumbled. The man who turned Chelsea into the fourth most successful club in England has been sanctioned. In 2003, he bought this football club for just £140 million. By 2008, he had paid the entire external debt that this club had, about £100 million. He leaves a club that only in 2018 made a net profit, that is after tax, of £62 million. That is the kind of impact and the turnaround that the Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich has brought to this football club. Not just that, but in 19 years of his ownership of this football club, he's won 19 titles. In Europe, he's been dominant. 13 domestic titles or trophies, 6 European titles. He's the guy who has turned Chelsea into a global brand. And yet, as we speak today, in this moment, on Senior's Last Word, sanctions are on by the UK government. Chelsea Football Club can't sell or buy players in the transfer market. Chelsea Football Club can't sell match tickets. Chelsea can't sell merchandise. Just among the sanctions that have sucked in the football club. Today, we ask ourselves the question: politics and football, do they ever meet? Would this have happened? Should it have happened? Now that it has, what is the impact? Will football be the loser without Roman Abramovich? And we must also ask ourselves the big question: is it wrong for politics to have sucked in football? Could this be the end of Chelsea Football Club as an elite club? Not just in Europe and the world, but maybe in England as well. I will tell you, it's been a shock. None of us saw it coming. But now that the Russian oligarch has been affected directly, it's time to look at how football will be affected by the sanctions that have actually been slapped on Chelsea Football Club. Has this man helped football? Has football moved forward? What have been his contributions? Should we make the argument that, well, notwithstanding the positives that he has brought to football, his likely or possible connections or relations with the Russian president Putin, it's enough to have found him guilty as charged by association at least. And therefore, football is among the many elements that have been affected by this invasion that we are all still very, very shocked about. Well, we talk football when we come to Senior's Last Word, and today we just look at how this is going to affect the game and whether we should really make the case for this man. John Terry, once his captain, came out, remember, last week and said, well, this is all wrong, a miscalculation, well, wrong motives, targeting the wrong man. Football shouldn't have treated Roman Abramovich this way, and he, an Englishman, blames England for getting sucked up and probably getting emotional as well, because now they've taken an action that is going to affect not just English players, at least 15 of them at the moment, and then the many English players that have come through Chelsea Football Club. They've benefited, they've become rich, they've made names, they've become famous stars. But now, the man who made them, the man whose money gave them the platform to be what they are now, is gone. Is he selling as it is now? No, he won't sell. But there are sanctions and they're biting hard. How has Roman Abramovich helped Chelsea Football Club? Will we lose something in football? I want to move that Roman Abramovich, among individuals in world football, forget the big guys in Spain that we know, the presidents, who actually always using their money impact on Real Madrid, on Barcelona. This time we have an individual who took up a club that had been long forgotten. And after 50 years of waiting, in his reign, Chelsea won their first league championship in 50 years. As it stands today, they've won 19 trophies since Roman Abramovich took ownership in 19 years. What an impact. 13 of those domestic. He's won everything. The league, the FA Cup, the League Cup, Community Shields, everything domestically he's won. But better than that, he's won everything in Europe as well. 6 European trophies as well. It makes it 19 in total. Look around in that same period. How many football clubs in Europe or even in the world could claim such success under one owner? And that's an individual, Roman Abramovich, in the case of Chelsea. That's huge. Was he passionate about the game? Was he just doing it because he had the money? It does not matter, because under Roman Abramovich, we saw some of the biggest names in coaching in Europe and the world come to Chelsea. Names like Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti, Antonio Conte, Rafa Benitez, Roberto Di Matteo. They came, they conquered. They left Chelsea as world-class superstars. Those who came as world-class, their levels probably went a notch higher. The ones who were not so popular, like Roberto Di Matteo, made their history and gained pedigree under Roman Abramovich, who created the platform, gave them the opportunity by paying the big money to bring them to Chelsea. And their arrival didn't just stop at that. It also led to the coming of world-class footballers who could have been ignored before this guy, before this time. But once they came with his money, with the coaches he brought, we came to know the legend of John Terry, Captain Marvel, Frank Lampard. Who will forget? I think we are talking about the greatest ever Chelsea player, Frank Lampard, the midfielder, Didier Drogba, the great African. Who will say he didn't rise not just to the level of elite footballers elsewhere in Europe, but he rose to the level of one of the very, very best footballers in the world. And forever, Africa will remember him, Eden Hazard. This is where he came, he shone, we praise him, and he made his name. And since he left Chelsea, we've forgotten about Eden Hazard. He thrived at Chelsea. N'Golo Kante today, he is the player who stays and still is at Chelsea. World class, World Cup winner, top player, the best defensive midfielder in the world, no question. Peter Cech, the goalkeeper, who also shone and made his name. So we got legendary players. 6 of them I've just mentioned. Under Roman Abramovich, they worked with 6 legendary world-class coaches. Did this man change Chelsea Football Club? Did he change the Premier League? I want to move today that without Roman Abramovich, probably the hype that we've seen in the Premier League over the last 20 years may not have reached that level. It was his money that shook up everybody, and everybody was reminded that in today's football, you need money to achieve success. We've seen the fans base for Chelsea grow. Fans chasing, switching from probably the other London clubs like Arsenal, Spurs, and all the other London clubs to come and join in this monster who came and conquered and kept conquering. To this date, they have been conquering. That's the kind of guy we are talking about. English football. After Chelsea's arrival, what happened a few years later? Manchester City woke up, rose, and the big guys with the big money also came and invested in Manchester City. What are we seeing today? The monster of Manchester City that hasn't stopped just in eating a prey in England, but Europe as well. And today, Manchester City is one of the top European clubs, even if they are still finding the European Cup, that is Champions League, elusive. Under not just Pep Guardiola, but anyone else who has come under this era that has seen Roman Abramovich. Liverpool themselves, they had gone down. They were disappearing below the horizon. Probably they had even disappeared. But the example was set. The candle was lit by Roman. And American owners came, took up Liverpool in this period of the Roman Abramovich era, Liverpool once again, the giant in Europe, the giant in world football, and the giant in English football. Liverpool awakened, Man City born, giants, very competitive. Chelsea now going head to head with Manchester City, with Liverpool, and yes, still in this same period, we still had a Manchester United that fought tooth and neck, because remember, before Roman Abramovich, the competition was between two teams. That was Arsenal and Man U. Roman Abramovich changes it by bringing Jose Mourinho, and from then on, it was no longer Man U, Arsenal. It was no longer Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. It became Jose Mourinho, Arsene Wenger, and Alex Ferguson. It became Chelsea, it became Arsenal, it became Man U. The candle was lit. After that, what happened? Yes, Manchester City is in there. Leicester City, somewhere in there, also got new owners, and yes, they managed to win a title, something that could have been unthinkable 25 years ago. As we speak now, it's no longer just a duopoly of Arsenal and Man U. Under the Roman Abramovich era, with his money, with his passion for the game, and his winning and winners mentality, what are we seeing? Chelsea, Arsenal, even though now they are going down, Manchester United, and Manchester City. We've got Liverpool. We've had Spurs coming in, even though they failed to win the title. We've got Leicester sneaking in there and winning the title. So the Premier League finally back to where we all think it ought to be. Competitive. We have winning teams there. We have world class in there. And you know what? Who started it all? Roman Abramovich, the attraction of world class coaches. Not just at Chelsea, but at Liverpool, at all the other clubs, Everton, Spurs. They've been literally spread out. But there's somebody who started it all, and that was Roman. So will we miss Roman Abramovich? I dare say yes, we will. Should football be concerned? Football should be concerned. But it's out of our hands. It's happened. This is life. Football moves on. We've known clubs in world football that have been run on drug money. In South America, we've had issues in Italy. Some clubs were even relegated. Remember Juventus, over issues that may be shocking, but it's related to football. Chelsea are right there. What are we going to lose Chelsea as an elite club? What happens now that clubs can't buy Chelsea players? That Chelsea can't sell their players? Imagine the frustration, the players there. Imagine the uncertainty, the anxiety. Let's talk about the Chelsea fan. Which way? Do they have a football club to support? Yes, of course. What happens? Because now Chelsea is a club with pedigree, genuine pedigree. It's an elite club, both at home and in Europe. Elite clubs always have a fan base. Does it matter who is going to take up ownership? If at all new owners come in, it doesn't matter, because the fan stays loyal to their football club. Across the world, clubs don't remain under the same ownership forever. So yes, the club goes on. The DNA of the club continues. But something that may change from where I am is the winning mentality, for example. That DNA now that is part of the team, that every player who goes there knows they must win. You play to win under Roman Abramovich. That success is part and parcel of that brand, which is now global. What's going to happen to that? That's the question. Will Chelsea fans be comfortable just being part of the globe, part of the elite group, and they're not winning? Who says anyway that they're not going to win? Because the class is still there, the quality is still there. Just this year, when the man is being sanctioned, what has happened? Chelsea have won every cup final they've been involved in, except obviously the League Cup where they lost to Liverpool. But winning the FIFA World Cup, it was during this year. They won the Champions League for the second time, it was this year. The European Super Cup, it was this year. How can it be that in this same year when the club is celebrating, they're riding a high wave, even probably still with a chance to sneak in and contest for the 2021-22 championship? It's when suddenly everything comes to a stop. But that's the reality of football. It's happened. So guys, let's question ourselves and answer. Which way for Chelsea and Chelsea fans? Do we regret that Roman ever came to football? I dare say no. He's changed everything. He was not a hands-on, but he put there the right people. His policy always was, if I don't succeed, or if we don't succeed this year, we must succeed next year. So what does he do? He sucks. Jose Mourinho sucked. He went, he came, he went. Everyone who came, as long as you stopped winning, he sacked you. If you played the type of football that didn't make him happy, he sacked you. All he was interested in, we must keep winning, dominating Europe, dominating England. We just must continue winning. We must be the club for London. He's done that. He's brought pride to Chelsea Football Club. Who knew this football club? Who even knew that they would get to where they are? So a man who wins 19 trophies as a president, as an owner in 19 years, where did he fail? Nowhere. We don't even want to know what he does beyond the football pitch. We guys in the football world care only about football. And what we will remember is that during Roman Abramovich's time, when he was the owner of Chelsea Football Club, the brand grew enormously. Players who may not have been known at all became world class. In fact, 6 of them became legends of Chelsea Football Club. John Terry, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba for one, N'Golo Kante, who is still here, Eden Hazard in his time, Peter Cech, world-class winners, some of the most successful ever, and among them, Frank Lampard becoming the greatest ever Chelsea player in history. Coaches, some had names like Carlo Ancelotti and Jose Mourinho and Rafa Benitez. No question they did, even Antonio Conte. But when they came to Chelsea, he lifted them, put them on a pedestal, and their reputations continued to flow or to fly through the roof. Sadly, we are only talking about a man who has given up. He wanted to sell. As it stands today, he can't sell. But still some good news for Chelsea fans, because Chelsea can still earn from broadcast revenues. Chelsea can still earn. That's good news. Really, really good news, because it shows not all is gone. And prize money, they can still get it. If they win a trophy, they get prize money like everybody else. If they become league champions, European champions, they do continue to get their prize money as they've been doing it. Guess what? Those benefits are still there. Chelsea still has a life. The fans still have a football club to support. But thinking and going beyond Roman Abramovich, will Chelsea get an owner who will be as passionate, as committed to winning, as obsessed with winning as Roman? Time will tell. We can't, for now, judge that. But football definitely is going to miss this man. We all want to see a competitive Chelsea. We want to see not just 1, 2, 3 clubs. We want to see at least 6, 7, 8 clubs in England competing. Chelsea among the other clubs in Europe competing, bring up stars, rising up to remind us that the pool of quality world-class players will never end. Sad time, sad period. Is this really the end of Roman Abramovich and football? I think it is. It's the end of the Roman Empire. But is it the end of Chelsea? Perhaps not. Will Chelsea continue winning? I think they will. But even deeper than that, will the players still keep the fire, the passion, the ambition, the desire to win? Will they continue to do it, at least in remembrance of the man who has given them the platform, who trusted enough to invest the big money? Will they miss him? Will they do this for him? I want to think perhaps they will. But we must also be anxious and wary. Many will want to go. What happens from now on? We have no idea. What happens to the Chelsea fan? We have no idea. But I want to tell you on Senior's last word today that indeed Roman Abramovich did not just turn Chelsea Football Club into an elite football club, into the 4th most successful club in England. among the very top clubs in Europe, sitting on the high table now with the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, AC Milan. That's the class. You talk about Chelsea lately. They are a profitable club. He found them in deep losses. So this guy pays off the debt of £100 million. This guy buys his club at £140 million. And then 4 years ago, he starts making profit. You can imagine 62 million net after tax profit only 4 years ago. How many clubs do that? I wonder. Do we want to know the source of his income? I don't care. Does football care? No one cares. What football cares about is the world class, the superstars, and the impact. It's sad, it's bad, it's unthinkable. But I want to tell you that Roman Abramovich will go down in football history as one of the most impactful football club owners ever. No one will care that he was Russian. We will remember that he did lift Chelsea from the doldrums. He reminded them how to win. He brought back the league success. Beyond that, he just went on to conquer trophy after trophy after trophy. And after 19 years, he has literally and virtually won every possible trophy that there is to win, both at home in England and in Europe. Chelsea, elites, fourth most successful in England. And that's all down to Roman Abramovich. We shall miss him. Football will miss him. But we must end by saying thank you for changing the dynamics of the Premier League. Thank you for bringing back the competition in the Premier League. And thank you for reminding everyone that world-class footballers are probably the reason why most of these football clubs that might have lost their way normally come back and go back to competing against the very best. We will miss Roman Abramovich, but football remains. It's a global village. It's for the entire world. We will miss Roman Abramovich. But thank you. And that's all that the Chelsea fan can say. Thank you. That's all that the legends that he has seen through, the legends that have been created on the coaching side, will say. He made us. He gave us the platform. Thank you. Doesn't matter what England does now to him. Football, he'll always be a friend. Thank you, Roman. And that's my last word.